We have a bit of unexpected breaking news. The San Francisco 49ers made a roster move that I don't think many of us were anticipating. The 49ers have officially waived Drake Jackson with an injury designation. The former second round pick is no longer with the team after failing his physical. And that is a pretty interesting, kind of crazy situation, also considering the fact that he just posted onto his Instagram something about how you're crazy if you don't think I'm going to be playing this year, and all of these kinds of things. Obviously, we know he has been dealing with a knee injury that has just been nagging him and been ongoing, and really injured his patella, and it just hasn't been progressing. And I think there was a point where we had heard that Drake Jackson might not even play this year, but he refuted that on his recent post as maybe like last week that this came out. It was kind of aggressive, and he doesn't post those types of things. So it was kind of interesting, kind of came out of nowhere. But he is still currently rehabbing his knee. He is expected to be cleared by the start of training camp, according to Adam Schefter. So it will be fascinating to see if another team picks him up or if maybe he circles back around to the San Francisco 49ers around that time, because they are still thin at defensive end. Yes, they did go out and they drafted Michael Williams first overall, but they're still relatively light at that position. And I don't think many fans were anticipating Drake Jackson having an impact this season, but it was going to be kind of like found money if he was going to, because again, he was a former second round draft pick, 61st overall at a USC in 2022. 6'4", 273 pounds. He's only 24 years old. One of the things that stood out to me about Drake Jackson was his physical tools and traits. He had a great profile, great athletic profile. But when you got into the tape, it was absolutely apparent to see that he was extremely raw. And when I say extremely raw, from the technical aspect of things, and that was kind of the knock on him coming out of USC as well. He was moved all around the defense. I think they had him at off-ball linebacker at one point. He just kind of had to move around, so he never really got comfortable at one spot, and he never really was able to develop the technique needed to play at a high level. Now he still showed some promise in the NFL. According to PFF, he had 7 sacks, 20 quarterback hurries, 6 batted balls, 8 tackles. um Not bad. He even had an interception in 2022. So there was promise there, right? I think we saw some glimpses. We saw some of that potential that got him drafted in the second round. But unfortunately, it just has not panned out. And apparently the 49ers, saw an opportunity to probably get out of this situation. And he didn't pass a physical, from my understanding, and they waived him with that designation, failed physical designation. So Drake Jackson is no longer a San Francisco 49er, at least for now. Obviously, again, I think multiple fans are going to think about this in multiple different ways. Some are shocked, some are thinking what a wasted draft pick. I know that 2022 draft has just not been a good draft outside of the last pick, which was Brock Purdy, who kind of saved the whole thing. Honestly, he's kind of saved the last couple draft classes, 2021, 22, and 23. Obviously, the 49ers rebounded in 2024 with a stellar draft class. And from all things considered so far, there's a lot of optimism surrounding the 2025 draft class. But I think the next question becomes, who are the San Francisco 49ers going to bring in? And I think they have to. I really do. I think, when we look at the 49ers current depth chart, there's, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, they're still super thin at defensive end. Yes, they got Michael Williams. Yes, they got Yetur Gross-Matos. Both of those players are, I would consider, more inside out guys, base down guys, in on first and second down, and guys who would benefit the most from kicking down inside, um, on in pass rushing situations and nickel situations and rushing over the guard. The 49ers don't have a ton of pure pass rushers. Maybe Sam Okwuonu is another name. Robert Beal is a guy that hasn't been able to be relied on up until this point. You got some journeymen like Alex Barrett, who's been on the team since 2020, but mostly in a practice squad role. So, there's not a lot of, you when you're looking at this roster, that's just not a whole lot that makes you think like, oh, they're good at D end. They're I would say they're okay at D end. I wouldn't say that they're in the best possible spot imaginable. So it's going to be fascinating to see how the San Francisco 49ers approach this. You think of guys that are out there on the open market. I think the two names that probably 49er fans will gravitate to are Jadeveon Clowney and who was just released, I believe, from the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have Zadarius Smith out there as guys who are free agents. So it is going to be really interesting to see how the San Francisco 49ers continue to address this position, because I do think that there is some stuff that needs to be taken care of. Do they bring in a guy like Matthew Judon, potentially a Carl Lawson, Tyus? I mean, there's not a lot of great names out there on the open market. So it is going to be interesting. Dennis Gardeck, potentially. Um, the 49ers need to continue to address this position, get some additional depth at edge, because it just isn't, I think, a finished room yet. Obviously, of course, uh, we have what's his name? Nick Bosa. What's his name? Nick Bosa. On the roster. But anyways, it's an unfortunate situation for Drake Jackson, nonetheless. So, pretty crazy situation to see him on the outside looking in. But I'm curious what you guys think about it, what you think the San Francisco 49ers should do moving forward. Let me know what you guys are thinking, uh, and let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.